Hello.
Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 211, and it is Monday, June 30th.
Not June 39th.
It's not June 39th, which is a combination of the 29th and the 30th. It's like the exact stroke of that, like, millisecond between the two.
That was on one of our threads this week because, we're professionals that way.
We just make updates.
Yeah. So I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
And we're recording a day late because Laura was in Chicago hanging out with Becca Face.
I was. But we'll get into that in favorite things.
Yep. So you have a ton of stuff in the show notes for works in progress. At least it looks that way.
That's because I haven't worked on anything.
So you just left last week's there?
Yeah. So what I'm working on right now, which has actually almost had a whole row done on it as we were sitting here talking, is my Jackaroo cardigan. It is by Amy Herzog. I think I might take this with me. I haven't decided what I'm taking with me to Michigan yet. But this is a nice, not too complicated pattern, and because it's in pieces, it doesn't take up like your whole entire lap. You can still pretty much roll with it, and it's stockinette with a bit of ribbing in the middle. So I think it would be okay to knit on around the nieces. So this is what it looks like. And this is the back panel. I do want to wash this, and I am going to wash this and block it before I do the front pieces, because if it's not the correct size for what I want, then I can change the front pieces.
So you can get a different size for the front than you did for the back, right?
That might be the plan, because it feels like it might be a wee bit small. I did gauge swatch for it, and this is the gauge swatch.
But it did grow a lot when you swatched it.
Nope, it didn't.
Really? I thought it did.
It didn't grow very much at all. So, we'll see. I mean, it might, because it's got some heft to it, I might rewash the gauge swatch and hang it to dry. And that might change, like, and put like a pin there, and that's going to change it a little bit too. We'll see. Because I washed it in your water, and maybe different water makes a difference.
I don't know if my water's hard or soft.
I don't know. I mean, these are all things that could affect things, but not necessarily this. I think I'm just making that up, so don't freak people. I am knitting this on size 6 needles. They are my signatures. Whoop. As you can see, I'm not trying to make people dizzy. It's just a natural effect of being around me. And
you induce nausea.
I do. Just as the 6th graders. It's naturally merino, a New Zealand merino silk blend yarn. It's a 10 ply. And that's about it for that. I knit a row on it. I'm enjoying it. I like the way the fabric looks. But there's not a whole lot to say about it, and it's brown. So I'm not like going to alternate skeins or anything, because it looks pretty consistent.
Yeah,
throughout.
I wouldn't worry about it with a commercially
dyed
yarn. So do you have a self-imposed deadline for that?
No, because the original self-imposed deadline I really wanted to get done before SSK, but it's been gone on the back burner. I'd rather get Curiouser and Curiouser done for SSK, which I don't think is going to happen either. Or the Kirsten Kapoor shawl. Again, who knows? I had a direct flight this time to Chicago, so there wasn't a ton of knitting time on that. It is hanging out in my very cool Harry Potter bag. So
those are made by our friend Liliana.
Yep. And we're trying to convince her to open an Etsy shop, so hopefully that'll happen. The Kirsten Kapoor shawl is at the same place it was last week. It is 4 rows short of having the second clue done. It is being knit on Volmiza Pure in the Elf colorway. And I might knit on this some tonight, because it's one of those things that I can't really be watching anything or doing anything, at least for me.
Yeah.
I need to be sitting here looking at this chart. this is definitely going with me because I have a 12-hour drive each way to Michigan, and I'm riding both ways. So this will probably get done on that. And then I did make some progress on the Curiouser and Curiouser.
Did
Some
this go
backward
with you
projects.
to Chicago?
Yeah. Oh, I haven't shown you my cool thing, and I broke the scissors off of it, so you can't even see it when it was new and shiny. So, there were the little foldable scissors on it too, but I needed them during my spinning thing that I was doing, and I went to grab them, and I just broke them off. But this is by Winemaker's sister, and she does these really cool keychain things, and on them are, this is the Alice in Wonderland one, of course, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 stitch markers, and then a very cute row counter that's got a lobster claw, so you can actually attach it to your knitting.
That's cool.
So I thought it was a really, really neat idea, and that's Winemaker's sister makes these. And I love Alice in Wonderland. They're cute little Alice in Wonderland stuff. But it also, Leslie was teasing me and telling me it was my janitor's keychain.
That's what it looked like when you sent me the picture. Like it had everything on it.
It does have everything on it. And I'm going to put the scissors back on. I just need a bit of wire. Because I am silliness. Alright, here's my Curiouser and Curiouser. So it's a little bit bigger. Not a whole lot. I had some backwards knitting that happened. So I had to fix it. Really trying to not take stitches off the needles. So it is wee. It is getting bigger. It will continue to get bigger. It is knit from the center out. So you start in the middle and work your way out. And each segment is separated by stitch markers. It's pretty easy to remember unless you're like, oh, I forgot that big stitch marker that marks the beginning of the round, marks the beginning of the round. Let me just do it over here instead. Twice. So I ripped back a bunch of rows in the lace. It's like, oh, I've knit that row many a time. That's supposed to be lace. Anyway, so I'm knitting this, and I'm using Fulmiza lace garn in the Verhex and Verats colorway. This was a shorter skein of the lace, so instead of having 300 grams, it has 292 grams. So it might be a little bit less than 1,700 yards. I would say it's probably 1,500 yards. The pattern calls for 1,200 yards of a fingering weight. And this, like, took up all the luggage space.
And you got almost nothing knit on it.
I know. Well, I got, I would say probably 30 rows done. But yeah, not a whole lot. It's another one where I have to sit there and be looking at the pattern. So it didn't get a ton of work because I was staying with my friend Becca, and she's got a very awesome 2-year-old named Nick, and he and I were hanging out, and he calls me Auntie La because La La's redundant.
That toddler logic, man.
It is. So it was funny. He's an adorable, very well behaved little boy, but I didn't want to be trying to do lace. And then I got like my spinning bug. It was a Spinapalooza. So this is in my Amy Beth, that squirrel bag, my steampunk bag that I bought because of Joanna Spring, but also because it's steampunk and awesomeness. And that is all that I am working on this week.
Just that. Just those 4 things.
Just those things. I hear you're down to 0 projects on the needles for a while.
I did get down to 0 projects. I was super proud of that.
That's something to be worth being proud of.
I had analysis paralysis to try to decide what to cast on. Because I feel like anything that I'm knitting now needs to be something that can go in the try-it-on room at SSK. So socks were out because I'm totally fine with, you know, you guys trying on any sweaters or shawls or any of that I've made, but
hats.
Trying on socks is weird, so I have to pass on that. So what I decided to cast on was, it's called Lichen, and it is out of a collection of 6 shawls that are Viking themed, Viking love something.
It's Larissa Brown.
Yeah,
And she wrote a really cool book. I think she's written several books that I've really enjoyed knitting book-wise.
So I took, you can either do it in Aran or DK. So what I decided to do was use sort of my heavy worsted Aran hand spun that I had left over for the less is more top that I made.
Yeah.
Because I've got like 500 something yards available, but I don't have to use it all. So I just started.
How much does the pattern call for?
If in this weight, 300 and something, like 320 something.
Are you just knitting them back to back? Like, just how are you changing? Did you just make like a monster skein?
No, this is only one.
Oh, okay.
One of 3 available skeins.
Okay.
So it starts here in the corner and then it goes out, and so every 10 rows or so you bind off a bunch and it makes these little ruffles. And it looks kind of weird right now because it hasn't been blocked, and blocking is going to be a challenge because you have to block it circularly in order for like you to get the full effect of all the ripples. So that'll be fun.
So one of the things I want to make sure we bring to the tasting room are our Infinity blocking wires and the new signature grid system. Yeah. So I think that would be fun to bring. But I was just thought of that.
So this is, again, it's out of hand spun. It's Into the World, and I'm actually using some needles that I really hate because they were what was close. And these are 11 millimeter. And these I got from yarniverse.com when it was still in business, which was a local Memphis shop. But they're wood, they're like birch, which I personally hate using wooden needles. It's just a thing. And these
Leslie likes metal needles.
I do. And these are kind of squeaky.
At the joint. She like sounds a whole lot.
Yeah, and I have like this thing where certain repetitive noises just make me crazy.
Those needles are perfect for you. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I just cast this on yesterday, and what's funny is as I was finishing all these projects, which I'll show you in a minute, I was putting all of my leftover needles in one place. Look at this. This is my bag o' needles that I need to sort.
So how do you store your circular needles? Because I know how I do. But it looks like you throw yours in a bag. Yeah, mostly. The ones that are part of collections like the Addie Clicks or the Chow Goos or whatever, they go back in their cases. And the cases go in a drawer in my yarn storage. But the free needles, they all just go in one place. Like it's just it's a drawer, but it's just a big kind of potluck mess of them. So there's room for improvement there. It's too bad there's not a size 11 needle in here. That'd be awesome. I have a size 11 needle in my accordion folder that I keep right here, full of needles that I can easily open and pull to the correct thing.
I like that you are playing the whole organized card.
This is the one thing I'm organized at. Shut your face.
I know this, but they may not know this.
The one thing that I actually keep organized. So, because now it's up in conversation. I have this giant, and now I have like my headphones are ripping out because they got caught underneath. I have this giant, don't judge me for my needle collection. What are these called? Banker boxes?
They are expanding files.
Okay, so each little area has its own size. The ones go to the front, and I just put ones and ones and a half together. So it's zeros, ones, twos, threes, all the way back to, what's my largest size? 36s.
Jeez Louise.
And this is just for circulars. Look at how huge those are. So this is how I try to keep the original packaging. I'm a big fan of Eddie Turbos. But sometimes I lose it because I'm traveling or whatever else, or they came with lame packaging. So in that case, like, they get a little sign made, and then they go into a Ziploc. So that's how I organize my needles, and it sits in a little IKEA roller cart that I've got down here. So that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't get piled on top of it, but...
Since we have moved on to you, why don't you show us your FO?
My one FO, so you can share your 8 million FOs.
Not quite that many.
I finished the opal socks.
Pretty.
So, I don't know. They're very, very bright. These were knit on fuzz one needles, carbons. And this is opal and one of the little Prince colorways. Becca stole one of my socks when we were sitting around with Funky, and she put it on her hand and she made it sing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song because she thinks they look like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air socks.
Now I'm going to have that song in my head.
I know. I wanted to share that with you.
Up to the house about 7 or 8 and I yelled to my homies, yo, see you later. Yeah, I remember that
The
song.
cabbie, yep. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. Relaxing all... No, anyway. So, these are knit on size. That is your joy for the day.
Yeah, I know. All you young people, Will Smith had a career before the movies. And it had a high top, and...
It was awesome. Yay, early 90s. So, was that... That has to be early 90s. You know, he is, now that this is a discussion, he is older than the guy who played his uncle in that show, when that guy was playing his uncle.
He is a good-looking man, too.
Seriously. I'm excited about the new nanny. Anyways, opal, Little Prince, not Fresh Prince. Size 1, 2.25 millimeters. They were knit with the Wendy Johnson toe-up method and her gusset-based heel. If you have not been to Wendy's website, which is wendyknits.net, she has a very, very cool chart format to just give you the numbers of doing toe-up with the gusset, toe-up with a slip-stitch heel. Very, very cool. And Wendy's an awesome person. She actually does have a mystery shawl going along that starts in like 2 weeks. I bought the pattern last night. I'm very, very excited for that. And it's in different weights. So I think I might do it in DK weight. So I'm super excited about some DK weight hand spun maybe. Maybe a gradient. We'll see. So super excited about that. I have to download the information page on her knit along mystery shawl. So that is it for me. That was a lot of talking about one FO and my hedgehog sock markers, which are from Chappie, who's a person who always goes to Stitches Midwest. So that's it for me.
Okay.
What you finish?
I finished all the things.
All the things.
So the first thing I did was I bound off my asymmetrical Wendy Knits shawl.
You know who has an asymmetrical going on? Well, she starts next month, I think, is Yarns of Yin Hu. So you just decided to bind it off at that point.
I did. I bound it off when I realized that I was woefully uneven. Whoa! Sorry.
You went a little bit farther than you were expecting to, didn't you?
My headset yanked. So it is quite large. It is large enough to easily fit over my shoulders. And actually what I think that I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the leftover and I'm going to do a loose running stitch down the edge and then try it on as sort of a Viagant style cape to see how it looks. If I like it, then I'll weave in the ends of the running stitch and keep it permanent. If not, I'll just undo it and wear it as a regular shawl because it works just fine that way.
I think it would be fun just to have it pinned, like get a nice shawl pin, like a Leslie Wynn shawl pin or a Plover Bird shawl pin.
I can see you through my shawl. Anyway.
And then you can just, like, if you decide to wear it one way one day, you can wear it that way, and it gives you more.
Yeah, but it also adds something to keep up with, which I'm terrible at.
Oh, there you go.
Although I might try one of those jewel enclosures, the JUL, the ones that are like the leather, and that might be worth trying. I don't know. So that is one thing.
It blocks out gorgeous. It's amazing what blocking will do.
It is. It's wonderful what blocking
And it
will do.
was alpaca with a twist pheno?
Yes, which is 70% alpaca and 30% silk.
Lovely.
And then when Laura was in town, we went to a local yarn shop, Be Homemade.
Yeah.
And I got Sweet Georgia, and it was in her superwash DK. and the colorway was something Glacier.
Prettiness.
I decided I wanted to try the Cocoa Knits Weekend Wrap, which is just a big drapey wrap. That's all this is a big drapey like vest. Ooh, there's strategically placed holes there. And it's fine. It's probably not something I would knit again, but it'll be something interesting for the tasting room.
It'll be something interesting to throw on over maybe just like a t-shirt.
Yeah, at the beach or, whatever. It's very light. And I haven't cut the ends, although it has been blocked. But yeah, it's very light and simple and easy, so.
It adds some movement.
And it was really quick. They call it the weekend wrap because you can knit it in a weekend. I would say you could knit it with 8 hours. I mean, maybe less.
You're making me want to knit it now.
The thing that slowed me down the most is that you have to use big needles. Mine, oh yeah, here they are. So this is what I ended up, because this is the only thing I had. For these big plastic 17s.
Yeah, the daisies.
And they're just awkward to hold. And that's what slowed me down the most, was just, it took up so much time to relearn how to hold such big needles that...
You're in like a big needle kick lately.
Well, you get a lot done with big needles.
You do.
So that was another 300-ish yards there.
How are you doing on Stash Dash? I feel like you've passed it.
I'll tell you.
Did you win Stash Dash, Leslie? Did you?
So this is my Caulfield, which is blocked, but the ends need to be trimmed. This is done.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Okay, I'm going to unplug. If you guys hear echo, it won't last. Woo, I'm going to break all the things. So this is out of Quince & Company Sparrow. And aside from a weird fit issue right at the arms, like right here, I feel like it's got a little bit of bagginess. Of course, I'm wearing it over.
I'd rather have it baggy there than too tight there, though.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you have it on, you can't see it at all.
So.
Oh my god, that's gorgeous.
I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I decided to do these drapey front ends here. I think it looks nice. And it's very light.
I agree.
So, that was 1,200 yards. And
wow, that looks really, really good.
Another one. I finished my driftwood.
You finished 3 garments in 1 week.
So this, I had most of one sleeve done, so I had to do another sleeve. I had to do the edging.
It still needs buttons, though, correct?
What's that?
It still needs buttons, correct?
It does still need buttons, but that's the only thing that's left. It had a rolled at the edge. The way the pattern was written, it was in stockinette, and I didn't want it to roll. So I just did garter stitch. And I have to buy buttons. I don't have 8 of the same button, so I have to go buy some.
Really?
But that's a good problem to have.
It is.
I would try it on, but I'm already hot, and this is a lot of wool. So.
What are you thinking about for buttons? Are you thinking like a colored button, like a red or something, or are you thinking?
Let me put my earplugs back in so that the echo doesn't bug people too much. Because of the openness of the neck, I'm really not going to need to unbutton it, so I'm not going to need that function, so I'm probably going to tack down the edging and the buttons will just be decorative. Because it's already pretty wide neck. So, I don't know what color buttons. What do you think I should get?
I think you should get small red buttons.
You think?
I think.
So.
Or purple or blue. Something to bring out the pop of the color. But I wouldn't do like multiple button colors. I'd just
no, I don't think so. I would stick with one. I love people that are like confident enough to pull off that kind of quirkiness, but I'm not confident enough for it. So that brings my yardage total for Stash Dash up to 8,115 yards. So
wow, you rocked it.
You're it's done. Totally a contest. But I also haven't spun in a month and a half, so
you haven't. That's
I'm
true.
Very happy with what I got done. I'm happy that when I've like buckled down, I can really get stuff done.
Yeah.
And I've actually gotten a lot of SSK prep done this past weekend.
You have. So, that's very true.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Good.
So, spinning. You have spinning.
I do have spinning because I have to spin all the things.
You've been, like, even when you were in Chicago, you had your mini spinner, and, like, every picture I saw that you posted was spinning related, and they were all gorgeous. I really love that Hello yarn that you finished.
Oh, thank you. So, that's a good tie-in. Hold on, let me get past the stitch marker, because if I don't get past the stitch marker, it tends to fall off my needles, and then it's gone for forever. So I was very inspired by a woman named Boxstar Knits, who used to have a podcast. She's out of Germany, and she is doing, she's in the Hello Yarn Club, and she's been spinning. Her agreement with herself is she has to spin what she gets in order to remain in the club.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, I'm going to spin my last club shipment because it makes me happy, and I want to do that. So I took with me to Becca's house my mini spinner because we were letting the kids spin on the wheel a little bit, and I finished this.
I love that.
This is Hello Yarn Wickerham. The cool thing about being in the Hello Yarn Club, there's lots of cool things, but this club or the Into the World Club or other clubs where they have very active boards on Ravelry is people post how they spin stuff. And you can kind of get an idea, ooh, I really like that. I really don't like this. Not so much in those words, but that's not what I have in my head for this thing.
Right.
So I decided to do a 3-ply because it's a lot of, let me unwind it. And it's been soaked in thwacked at this point. It was all shades of brown with a little bit of orange. So
those are so Amy Beth's colors.
So what I did is instead of just dividing it, like stripping it down in half, it had like a repeat that was occurring. So it went like light brown, orange, light brown, dark brown, like somewhere around there. So every dark brown I just separated. I separated into 3 equal chunks that each had a repeat. And I spun them separately. And then I 3-plied them together, all on the mini spinner on my Acreworks bobbins. And I got 270 yards of a 3-ply. And I have a little bit left over that I can Navajo ply. So I'm really, really happy with it. It's going to be something for Wheezy.
Yeah.
Wheezy's favorite color is orange. So there's some nice pops of that every once in a while. And it's a great guy color. And the fiber composition is a nice fine merino, so it's really, really soft. It's not super wash, otherwise I probably would have kept it for socks. And it's a good worsted weight yarn, and it's got a lot of bounce. I really am enjoying the 3-plies lately. They're floating my boat.
I really love 3-plies. I'm not a consistent enough spinner that I can get what I feel is adequate in a 3-ply out of 4 ounces. Like, I feel like if I don't get at least 250-ish yards, then I kind of have wasted that 4 ounces, which may not be true, but in my head it's true.
But you spin bulky 2-ply all the time.
I love bulky 2-ply. It's easy and fun and bouncy.
See, alright, we're going to agree to disagree on that. Because you're contradicting yourself, because your 2-ply bulky is usually like less than around 200 yards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I try for something, then I set myself up for failure.
All right,
I see that you're moving on.
I am. Because you are redunculous. So this is something that had been on my wheel since the mini spinner since the knitting pipeline retreat. And I finally finished it up. It is Knitting in Color in Falkland. And I'm not sure of the colorway. It's been quite a while. This has not been soaked or thwacked.
It's really pretty, though.
Quite yet. It is very stark. And it was, I believe, fractally spun. Not stark as in, like, there's a lot of contrast. It's a high contrast gain. How about that?
I like it.
But I do like it. I'm not quite certain what I'm going to do out of it. It's a 2-ply. And it's not very consistent because there were like 4 months that went by between me spinning it. But it's 350 yards. So it has the potential to be something pretty cool. but I'm not quite certain what yet. I don't think it would look super. Well, as I say, I'm wearing a t-shirt like the same color, but I don't know. Maybe a hat. That could be a cool, like, you know how I do that almost sock head hat, but it's not. It's like a DK weight. I might make a nice one of those. It's Falkland, so it does have that. It's not as super soft as some other breeds. And Falkland's not really a breed, it's a region of islands where they have bunches of different sheep, primarily Polworth. But they kind of mix it about. So 350 yards of this, 270 yards of the wicker work. And then I have been taking blocks of fiber of Cormo. So after I wash them, they kind of come out and they look like this, like a big blob. And you take them, you pull off a lock, and you have this evil brush right here. and I did this on top of a cloth. You flick it out and tease it up, and then you run it through the drum carder, and it becomes super fluffy. This is stuff to go back through the drum carder. This is what I cleaned it off, and this is all the stuff that I cleaned off. So, my drum carder's sitting right beside me, and this is my very cool cloth. Whoop, I just lost some fiber that I flick on top of, and it is from fibercatcher.com. It's got a white, it's really great to spin on top of because it's got a white side and a black side, and I have obviously I've been using the black side a lot more, and it's got these little pockets, so when you have like little trash, you just, see, trash? You can just stick it down in there and then clear it all out at once. And it's got these zipper pockets too, so you can put stuff like a diz in there or whatever else you need. And this is my big red bin that I've been filling with fiber to flip. So anyway, I've been doing that to my Cormo, and then once it becomes a bat, spinning it. And I have like 3.2 ounces on here. And I have another little bobbin on the wheel. And once I get 3 of these done, I will set them aside and then probably spin another, let's see, that would be 9 ounces, well, 10 ounces. I'll do 3 more bobbins because I have the bobbins. And I'll start flying at that point and hopefully get a sweater's worth. Let's see, that would be 20 ounces. I'll probably need a little bit more than that. But I have like 2 pounds.
Yeah.
Pre-processing. So, like I said, this is all stuff that came back off the drum carder. When you flick, you lose some too. So, I'm losing a good bit. I can see my trash can from here. I'm losing a good bit. It helps if I kind of twist the lock before I flick it, and that kind of helps keep that together, and I don't lose quite as much. So that's what's on the wheels. What's going with me to Michigan for sure is Hello Yarn Romney in the Tideline colorway. This is from the March Club, and I'm going to do my singles. So June was Expand Your Horizons, and Romney folds very nicely. So I am going to spin this as a single. I'm not going to divide the braid at all. So it's going to have nice long color repeats. Let me take this out of here. So when I spin it, it's just going to be a single, but it's going to have nice long color repeats. And you can see it's kind of, Romney's a longer fiber.
Yeah, it's a little coarser, a little grabbier.
Yep.
Not uncomfortably so.
And I'm not certain what weight. I'll probably do like a DK weight single on that. Whatever I can spin consistently. Whatever I feel like is getting the twist angle and consistency that I want. So, we'll see. And that's going to go with me to Michigan. And because Tour de Fleece starts on Saturday.
Is it the 3rd?
The 3rd, I think.
So that's Thursday.
Okay. So Thursday. Whew. So, yeah, I'll be back in Mississippi not till Sunday night. So I'm going to take at least the Hello Yarn and probably something else with me. I haven't decided what else yet. Something else. So that's it for me for spinning.
Okay, well, I don't have any spinning.
Okay.
I've been on a bit of a finishing kick, so.
Just a wee bit.
Just a little bit. I was determined to get down to 0.
I
did have one project left on the needles, but it ended up being, like, not the right size, so I just went ahead and frogged it, and I will knit it in something else that will actually make it look nice. We have, not a book review exactly, we reached out to Brooklyn Tweed about his new kids collection. There were 10 or 12 patterns that were put out under the Brooklyn Tweed label. Mm-hmm. Some were by him, some were by other designers. And they're
all for kids, children. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, in the like 2 to 10-ish range,
yep,
age-wise. So we worked with Bristol over at Brooklyn Tweed, and she sent us 4 patterns to look at. And I've been, before Laura got on to Skype, I was refreshing myself and looking at all these patterns and really marveling at how well done Jared's Brooklyn Tweed as a label, their patterns are. They're so comprehensive.
They're almost like mini books.
They really are. So this is the Atlas pullover.
Yep. And it comes in both a pullover and a cardigan pattern. So it's the 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that they do it in different color schemes as well.
Yes.
There's one of the other color schemes.
And they show that it's unisex with boys and girls. This one pattern is 18 pages. And that gives you, and it's not wasted space. I mean, it's very clearly written. All of the gauge is there. The ease is written in. The chest measurements for children's sizes. They give you a suggestion. So a suggestion of 26.5-inch chest is usually a size 2.
Very nice, clear schematics. In fact, a whole page dedicated to schematics and numbers. They
also mention skill level down at the bottom, which you may not be able to see because of the reflection.
The little dots.
Yeah, there you go. Like Laura said, the schematics are wonderfully detailed. And then they have a whole page just on general information you need to know about this pattern and how it's written. They talk about construction notes. They talk about any special techniques that are used. So most of Jared's patterns are for cardigans or tops in general are the Elizabeth Zimmerman style. So bottom up, sleeves from the bottom up, joined at the yoke, and then decreased. I
do like, I appreciate that he goes into color dominance.
Yes, that was one of my notes as well.
Okay, it has a whole section on color dominance, which is very, very important when you're doing something like Fair Isle.
So color dominance, for anybody who hasn't used or done Fair Isle before, is depending on which hand you hold which color in. So let's say your pattern is knit in a red and a black. Depending on which hand is dominant and which hand you hold the color in, either the black will pop or the red will pop. And so they talk about in each pattern at the end, there's a whole section on the techniques, and one of the things they talk about is if you want this result, put the yarn in this hand, etc. So they talk about how to make that happen. And I like that he also talks about swatching for circular knitting.
Speed swatching for circular knitting. So he even goes into how to swatch in the color pattern to make sure that you are getting the correct gauge, because your circular gauge is going to differ from your flat gauge.
And while I have done circular gauge before, close to how he mentions it, he adds an extra step with anchoring your stitches at the edge with another color that I've never done before, but it makes complete sense because that was one of the problems with circular swatching is your edge stitches are kind of wonky, but with the method he describes, they would not be.
I really also appreciate, I'm just going to show a bit of the chart, but the chart is in black and white primarily. So for me, that's awesome because if I change the colors from what he originally had, some people chart in the colors, obviously, that they used. And if you change those, sometimes that throws me a little bit for a loop.
It does. Yeah, it does me too.
The charts are clear. They're not quite that large. I blew it up. But the charts are nice and clear. The repeats are clearly marked as well. And it's just a very nice looking chart that's good size and easy to read.
And everything in his patterns, all the abbreviations, with the exception of knit or purl, everything is spelled out exactly. If he tells you to knit two together, he's going to explain to you exactly how he wants you to do that knit two together. If he tells you to do short rows, he's going to go into write a paragraph telling you, in order to make your short rows pop, do this particular technique. So it is, like Laura mentioned, a lesson in a pattern. It's really comprehensive.
If you wanted to do a yoke style colorwork cardigan, this would be the perfect first pattern to use, because it's smaller sized and it does use smaller yarn, but loft. It uses his fingering weight, which is loft, but it really is a great like mini lesson. It'd be like taking a class in how to do this. So I think it's really, really well put together. Another pattern that I really like is Bernice, which is a short sleeve lacing cable top.
And this one's by Julie Hoover.
And I saw this and I immediately thought of Julia. This one in the notes, it's interesting. They say that you can size it up for adults because it's done in the fingering weight. And they're like, if you switch to a worsted, a shelter, you might be able to work it into an adult size. You'd have to figure out the math on your own, but it would be feasible to do. Again, nice clear schematics.
Yeah, and a whole page of construction notes on, you know, referencing this pattern. These are the things you should keep in mind.
I appreciate that it shows both the back and the front of the sweater because there is detail on both, and I think that's very important to show. I appreciate the colors that they chose are very clean looking, so you can see the stitch pattern. Like sometimes I feel like that cable and lace detail might have gotten lost in a different color, a darker color. It's very well styled with the darker color top underneath on the model so that you can see what's going on. Nice photography, and I would not expect nothing less from Jared because he first was a professional photographer.
And I think his styling is always impeccable. With his adult garments, I don't find a lot that I think would work for me personally in my body, but the styling is always beautiful. Very clear shots, so another good thing. He talks about wet blocking. He talks about the selve edges and how to make a really stretchy edge. He talks about cabled cast on. He really covers everything in making this sweater. Invisible increase to the right purl, like all these very like you can tell that they make sure the techniques and the increases or decreases or what have you that are used are the best choice for the pattern.
And it's consistent across the collection,
which
I think is also very important when you're doing a comprehensive collection like this. Magnus is a Scandinavian hoodie with a colorwork yoke by Veronica Avery.
Yep. And this one it's knit in the round, and the shoulder or the sleeves and the neck opening here are steeked, so there's no color work at all on the arms. Everything that's done in color work is on the body, and then you set in the sleeves. Again, like all the other patterns, this one is sized from 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 years old, with chest measurements from 25 3/4 up to 33 inches.
And again, this is a fingering weight, so it would be a great layering piece. I'm trying to think what else to say about this. Again, wet blocking has gone into the consistency amongst the terms is very clear.
Yeah, another nice, really clear, big chart. A good picture of the back of it. Here. Shows the shoulder and how everything is set in. And actually, there was a term in here I wasn't sure of, and it referenced joining the sleeves with the joiner stitch. And I had to go back and look because I had never heard of the joiner stitch. And it's actually the joinery bind off. I'm sorry. And it's the same thing as a 3-needle bind off. It's just a different term. So I learned something.
There you go. The last pattern that we have for review is the sock monkey sweater.
I want to make this for Kobe. I love it.
I figure that's why you requested this one. It's super duper cute.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice shawl collar.
I love that it references the sock monkey. But you could also do it, in a way that wouldn't at all remind you of a sock monkey.
And you can definitely see from the color scheme why it's called that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a Jared Flood pattern.
Yes.
And it's the fingering weight yarn again.
Another
I have a feeling it's held
schematics.
doubled. Let's see, maybe not. To get that color, yeah, it's 2 strands held together to create that marled effect.
Yeah, because all of Jared's yarns are heathered. They're not really variegated. One of the really great details that I loved about this pattern was the collar at the front. I guess is similar to the way that women's or men's pants are made, where if you have a button on one side if you're a man and the other side if you're a woman. He gives directions on how to tack down that tab on one side for girls or on the other side for boys. And that's just one of the many thoughtful little touches that you'll get in one of his patterns.
You actually steam the collar to relax the ribbing and pin it back to create a stable blocking surface to create the shape. Very interesting, very detailed too about the blocking, which is really, really nice. So I love the patterns and I love the yarn. I'm not certain that, especially for my nieces, this yarn would be a good choice because they tend to be very rough and tumble on their clothes, and it's not a machine washable yarn. Yeah. Loft is a very, very lovely American Targhee Columbia wool blend.
And that's made fully in the United States.
Yep. So gorgeous patterns. I'm not certain it would work for their lifestyle, but if you're a knitter and you're knitting for your own kids, you know how to take care of things. Would definitely maybe work for your lifestyle. And obviously yarns can be replaced.
Substituted.
Yeah, substituted.
And also, I guess, I don't know if this is judgy of me or not, but I always kind of imagine well-off people with their beautiful children who always look like they just come from a photo shoot. This is what I picture those children wearing. These beautifully well-made garments.
He's selling you the lifestyle.
He is. He's selling me the dream.
You want Kobe to look like that child in that sock monkey sweater picture and always be smiling and
to be as behaved as that child. That would be nice. But yeah, Laura and I are both huge Jared Flood fans. We would love to get that man to come and teach at SSK one year, but he does not really travel for teaching anymore. He doesn't have to. I don't blame him.
He's got a lot to do with collections like this take a lot of time, and that's very evident in the finished pattern because they are so on point.
Yeah, so we want to thank Bristol and Jared for sending us the patterns for review. We hope that if you guys are looking for kids' patterns, you'll check them out. They are absolutely worth your money.
Yep, and there's some great hats and accessories that will be perfect for Jared's yarn too. That would work even with my niece's more rough and tumble lifestyle. We do have a question from Pandurin, who's coming to SSK, by the way.
Pandurin, yeah.
I was wondering, do either of you have a favorite sock patterns for highly variegated yarns? So my favorite sock pattern for highly variegated yarns would be the No Pearl Monkey, or trying to think what other ones.
I like the Hermione's Everyday Socks.
Let me pull up. Oh, I just closed.
I like plain stockinette for variegates. I mean, it's fine with me.
Or like a nice 2x3 ribbing or something like that.
Or the Skype socks.
Yeah, the Skype socks, definitely.
I also wanted to mention there's a great group called the Database of Socks, DBOS, and I'll link it in the show notes. And they have in their group pages just lists of If you're looking for a pattern for self-striping, check out this huge list that we've cultivated. If you're looking for a pattern for variegated yarns, check out this huge list we've variegated. If you're looking for unusual sock construction techniques, check out this list. There's a huge list, a huge collection of lists.
Some other really fun patterns that I like, and this is going to be a little bit self-serving too. Socks on a Plane works very well with variegated yarns. That cable breaks it up a little bit. I knit a pair of socks called Honey Badger, which works really well with variegated. I've already said the monkey socks. They're one of my favorites. And what else? I'm trying to think, but Leslie's got a good point about, my little bit socks that just have the cable detail on the cuff and the heel flap. Those also would work well. So Leslie and then we knit, Numma Numma's got a pattern called Famous Feet that would work really, really well.
Yeah.
With variegated yarns. I'm going through all my socks. Interrupting Cow is designed for highly variegated yarns. But yeah, Wendy Johnson has a feather and fan pattern that's awesome with highly variegated yarns. So actually, a good thing also, if you have a yarn and it's a fairly popular yarn, you can actually go into the Ravelry database and search that yarn and then search that colorway and see what people have made out of it, what socks they've made, and whether or not you like their socks.
Yep.
So that's another option as well. So, yay, socks.
Yep. Fun
times. And Leslie's database that she's talking about is a fabulous resource as well.
Yeah, I favorited it. I came across it a few years back and I favorited it. And I've gone back to it over and over and over. So.
That's fun though.
Yeah.
So Stash Dash is going on. Stash Dash does run through August.
Yep.
If you have not finished like Leslie.
I'm secretly going to try for a 10K.
Okay, there's still plenty of time. All the details on Stash Dash, if you're new to the show, it is a knit along that we do during the summer. It can be stuff that you already have all the needles, it can be brand new stuff, it can be a combination of the two, it can be spinning, weaving, crochet, knitting, any of those cool things. Yep. I wish fiber prep counted, but it doesn't.
I'm sure some people wish sewing counted. I just can't figure out how to make that an equal trade-off.
Yeah, it's hard. So Stash Dash is a lot of fun, and all the details can be found on our Ravelry group, The Knit Girls, which just hit 6,000 members.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was really, really
cool. I looked last week, and it was in the 5,800 range, and then Laura told me today it had hit 6,000, so that's awesome.
Really, really neat. So we have a fun group over there. It's very active and tons of fun. Like I just said, because redundancy is redundant. You have Tour de Fleece on here.
Yeah, Tour de Fleece. So like Laura mentioned, it starts this week. I know the Knitmore girls are in the, Team Sasquatch. Which is a lot of podcasters are all sort of in one place, so you don't have to necessarily pick one over another. And while Laura and I are both captains, I know for certain there's no way I'm going to have time to participate this year. Really, every year it's right before SSK when we have a lot of prep going on. And like I have a lot of work I'm trying to get done so that I can be gone from my job and do my second job for a week. So I can't participate. But we do have a friend of our show, Mary Ann with Three Waters Farm, sent us pretty. Something to give away. Yay. And this is Tour de Fruit.
I've seen that on Instagram. That's really, really pretty.
And it's super happy, and it's 100% BFL. And they're offering a 10% off coupon to stock up for Tour de Fleece, because everybody needs more fiber.
I do not, but other people do.
You can use the 10% off coupon on their Etsy shop. They have yarn, fiber, also goat's milk soap. They
have a new club going on as well.
That's also something I'm going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
The coupon code is TWF, Three Waters Farm, KnitGirls 10. I'll put that right here below me.
You are so fancy.
Whoa. And it's good through July the 15th, so the day before SSK. They update their shop every single day, so if you don't see something that you like today, check it again tomorrow. So we want to thank them for donating their Tour de Fruit fiber. So what we'll do is we'll have you, in order to enter to win, this is this week's giveaway, just go over to their Etsy shop and find a color that you like, and then come back to our group and tell us what that is.
Or a base. It can be a base, too.
Yeah. And they also wanted to announce their new Top of the Month club, and that's their fiber club, which will be
I want to say that
thing.
with an Irish accent.
Top of the month to you. The members of the Top of the Month club will receive an exclusive and unique Three Waters Farm colorway at the beginning of every single month. You can check it out at their website, which is threewatersfarm.com.
I've been very, very tempted.
I know, because their stuff is really reasonably priced, just at its normal price.
Yeah.
You know, so you can get 10% off with the TWF, the Knit Girls 10, but, or TWF Knit Girls 10, sorry. But I'm really, really, really thinking about the Top of the Month club, because I'm not in any clubs right now, and this is why. But I'm considering it, so I don't know.
I think if you do consider it, I think you should have to spend. Like, before you can join that club, I think you have to spend 4 ounces.
4 ounces is easy.
I know, but you haven't spent in like a month and a half. I'm trying to encourage you to spend.
Because I've been finishing things.
Whatever.
Anyway, so if you want to enter to win, the prize will be up in the group. And we'll draw for that when Laura comes back. She comes back on the 7th. We'll record on the 8th of July.
Yep.
So we'll be an extra day late next week, which is, you guys will live. There's plenty of other podcasts to watch in the meantime.
Well, we're a day late this week, so it'll all work out.
It's because you are just a jet setter. Speaking of which, you went to Chicago this week.
I did. I went to Chicago, and I flew with my mini spinner for the first time. I have a little carry-on bag that it rides with, so Memphis, no worries whatsoever. I think the woman noticed that I was freaked out about my 2 different color shoes that I noticed when I was going through security.
They matched her eyes because she had a brown one and a blue one.
I'm walking through security, and I have been like last minute packing and getting stuff done and making sure Humberto had food and water and all the good things. And
I didn't save the picture, or I would show it.
It's a very blurry picture because I was that freaked out. So, but it's so funny because it's such a me thing to do. So I'm walking through security, and I have on Toms. At least it was the same like shoe.
Yeah.
And one was my blue pair, and one was my gray pair. And my Toms in the summertime just live by the front door, like. And I grabbed them on my way out, and I was trying to carry my luggage behind me, and I just grabbed 2 different shoes.
You had a pretty day.
I'm pretty every day. I was hoping that like it would convince people not to sit next to me on the Southwest flight. Like, look at this crazy person. She's got 2 different shoes on. But that was not the case. Flight went just fine. Yeah, that one went just fine. Oh no, it didn't, because I went to, where did I go?
You were in Milwaukee or something.
Yeah. Right? So there's.
She got on the plane and they were headed to Chicago, and then she ended up in Milwaukee. Because
we were circling Chicago and there was a storm, and they got backlogged, so it was like 100 plane wait to land, and we were gonna run out of fuel before we could land, so we got diverted to Milwaukee to get more fuel, and so it was like 2 hours late. Poor Becca was just like circling the airport for 2 hours. It was terrible. So then I got in, and the next day we went to the Hinsdale Public Library, which is where Becca works, and it is an amazing library.
You said it has 3 levels.
It has 3 levels. Their knitting book section rivals my knitting book collection. Like, it is very, very good. Their YA section is amazing and very well curated. I was taking pictures of the front covers of books so I could remind myself to order them for my library. And I had the great opportunity to teach spinning, beginning spinning, to 13 young women between the ages of 10 and 17 that came. So cool. We did drop spindling and a little bit of wheel spindling and a whole lot of fun. And it was like a little over a 2-hour program. And then, that day we also went to this really cool shop, String Theory. We went to String Theory, which was a very awesome shop with lots of cool things. And I bought some of the Regia neons.
Oh, the Floramanias?
Yeah, because of Gigi. They're
it's all
interesting.
Her fault.
Yeah. So I'll probably cast on a pair of stockinette socks out of one of those. Because
that'd be fun to just carry around for SSK.
Yeah, like, definitely. And they're not really they are big, wide, more of a gradient than a self-striping, I would say. So that was lots of fun, and on Thursday I went back with Becca to work, and I worked on SSK stuff most of the day. And then on Friday, Becca was off, and we hung out with Punky of Another Crafty Girl Yarns.
Lucky.
And went to Wildberry and ate delicious pancakes. And then went to Panera and played some very fun board games. Some ridiculous board games. And had some dessert. Because after you have Oreo s'more pancakes, you obviously need dessert 3 hours later.
It's vacation. None of it matters.
Yeah, and hung out and ate lots of food. And then on Saturday, we went to the Fold. And Tony, the owner of the Fold, is amazing. She is like the sweetest person ever. And she let me spin on her Shaft Reeves 24-inch Saxony double treadle cherry wheel, which Leslie was surprised did not come home with me.
I was surprised. I was surprised that there was no receipt for a, $1,700 wheel.
It was a $1,400 wheel, but
because I heard about how much she loved that sucker.
I love it so much. It's so pretty, and there's a great picture that Becca took on Instagram of me on the wheel. I might have to put that in one of the threads this week. It was so awesome, and Tony was so generous, and she was like, well, when I get a Lendrum in, you should come back, because Lendrum also makes a Saxony wheel.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that. I've never seen a Lendrum Saxony.
So, I don't think they're quite as popular, so I don't know, I'm interested in Saxony-style wheels. They're more production wheels. The ratios allow you to spin add more twist at a quicker rate. So
faster. Just say faster. Laura's like, I can taste it.
So for Spinzilla, I'm like, ooh, I could win Spinzilla if I had this wheel. But, we'll see. So I did purchase some things at the Fold. I've purchased lots of things. I was a greedy wool pig.
Some of them were for me, though.
Yeah, some of this big purple bag is for Leslie.
Wow.
So, I don't think they got labeled. So one of the dark wools is Leslie got 4 ounces of CBM.
Yeah.
And then one of them, trying to remember which is which wool, is, I should have labeled them, this is the CVM. Was it CVM or Cormo? Cormo. This is the Cormo, and then this is a CVM Cordale. So 4 ounces of each of those. One goes to Leslie, one goes to me. And then she had a Yak Rambouillet blend that I got 4 ounces of.
It looks nice and fluffy.
So pretty. And, man, the fiber is taking over my world. And then I hit the socks at Rockwall. So I got, for me, a skein of Portland plaid.
I like that one.
And for Leslie, a skein of Portland plaid. And then I got a skein of, for me, these are, all three are the medium weights. Pacific Crest Trail.
Oh, pretty.
And then for Leslie, they had this in lightweight, so I got you the lightweight.
Oh, good.
Passive Aggressive Green.
I just really like that color. It's like a sea glassy.
They had sea glass too, but I like this is more solid.
Yeah.
And then there were like 18 bins of Opal. So
Opal is a dangerous thing for Laura.
Opal did a graffiti colorway.
Oh, pretty.
So I got one skein of the graffiti colorway. There were like 20 skeins that could have come home with me. So that was my, in this big purple bag, that was my splurge at the Folds. So it was very, very nice. I could have spent way more money than that. There was a lot to do, and Tony is just so super nice. We just sat and talked for like a bit of time. So, and she knows she's been spinning as long as my mom's been spinning, and she was a weaver first as well. So it reminds me a lot of Manning's, where it's kind of like the back of her house, and you can actually watch the sheep because she's got a flock of sheep. So you can just sit there and watch the sheep too. It's very, very nice.
Sheep.
Yep. So, and she's got some very cute dogs. You would like it.
Are the dogs in the shop?
Yeah.
Yay. I know people have mixed feelings on that, but I love dogs, so.
Yep. Well, the shop's attached to her house, so they can go back and forth. So Chicago was lots and lots of fun, and I got lots of time with Becca, which is always fun, and Nick and Dan, her child and husband.
So Becca is wool pierogi. Ponky is Ponky, or another crafty girl.
Or Sarah is her real name. Oh, and I forgot I hung out with Barb, Babs Butterfly.
You told me you hung out with Barb, but yeah, you didn't say
Yeah, I didn't say that on the show, and she was super cool. I met her at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. She took one of my classes, and we got to hang out and spend a lot of like cool one-on-one time while Becca was working and knit.
Awesome.
So that was lots and lots of fun. So, see, that's why I can't, like, say people's names on the show, because then I always forget someone, and then I feel really, really bad. And I would have hated to forget Barb, because she's a really, really cool person. So, door prizes, we have a Dream in Color Jilly giveaway.
Let's give away the Dream in Color first. So,
I've got this really pretty yarn.
So, I'll pull up the random number generator, and you tell me what numbers to choose between.
And then that person will PM me, and we will rock it. So, hold on one second. It's 286. So 2 and 286.
Okay. Sorry, I lost my show notes.
I love that I have all these funny hits on my post because
so it's between 2 and 286. Yeah,
39.
Laura got a lot of smart responses because she put a date that doesn't exist. All right, the result is 150, so that should be on the 6th page at the very bottom. $150. It is Victoria Blue. Could use it to make something out of 335 in my queue. I don't know. Sounds like a plan.
It rhymes though, so that's fun. And it's Victoria from California. So I feel like she's won something from us before, I don't know, or she's entered other contests. But she's a designer too. Alright. So Victoria Blue, contact me, Lala, and I will get this out as soon as I possibly can. We want to thank Dream in Color Yarns and Jess, who sent us this awesome prize to give away. So I'm going to put that up in a very safe place that I will forget about. But y'all remind me it's right there.
It's over there.
It's over there.
Okay, so do we have anything else before we talk about door prizes?
I don't think so.
Okay. A reminder that we are recording late next week. We already talked about that.
Yep.
But now, if you don't want to hear about SSK, we get that, and we'll see you next week. But for everybody else, I'm going to show you guys door prizes. I got a bunch, and Laura got a few, but most of the door prizes I've had coming to me this year, because Laura's got everything else coming to her. So
a bin.
So we got a bunch of prizes from Melissa Jean.
Ooh, pretty.
So she sent little
You can look
cards.
at her for buttons too, for your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I like those little square ones. Those are cute.
All of her buttons are really cute. And
yeah,
she
she's
makes
got some
all
great.
of them.
Ooh, the hearts would be cute.
Yeah, so you can find her at melissajean.net.
Nice.
Yeah, and they each have their own little sleeves, but I took them out so that I could show you. Because I'm prepared, sort of.
There you go. We should make a list of door prize people, too.
What are you playing? Is that a prize that you're
It is.
with?
I am playing with. So Tony from the Folds gave me 2 spindles. They're both Russian.
Oh, wow.
They are from truecreations.biz. So,
Pretty.
2 Russian spindles. One has a very long extended, but since we are teaching supported spindling classes,
Yeah.
2 fabulous prizes there. What else do you have?
I have a box of stuff. Hold on.
Box of stuff. Well, how about I talk while you're looking?
I got it right here.
So last week I talked about Tangerine Designs sent us also one of her Hello Moon bags. So we have that as well. And then I'm done, so it's all you.
Oh, okay. So we got some items from Volenvine, and she is in Brooklyn, in New York.
She does a podcast too.
She does.
Right? Yep.
And she sent 4 skeins, but instructed Laura and I to each pick one out. So we have. So these are the items that are going to SSK. This is a blend I haven't seen before. This is 70% merino, 30% silk. It's her silky base, and it's a single ply.
That's really pretty. It reminds me of Starry Starry Night.
Yeah, it's really shiny and shimmery, and it doesn't feel like it would fuzz as much as just the merino.
The silk would add strength. Yep.
So that's positive, and that's 438 yards.
Wow.
And this is Lush, which is her merino cashmere nylon blend in the Night Owl colorway.
Gorgeous.
It is beautifully dyed.
Love purples.
So again, that's Volenvine, and that's at volenvine.com. So we want to thank her very much. So those are a couple of the items that you can enter to win. This is a dyer I had not heard of, but I am going to be looking out for. She is Invictus. And
cool.
This is a gradient kit in shades of purple, which made me think of you.
Pretty.
Yeah, so it's
only
altogether...
I could win door prizes.
This is a one-of-a-kind set, and it's 600 total yards. And she has different colors as well on her site. So that is invictusyarns.etsy.com.
Nice.
If you want to check her out. So that's one of the prizes. And Huckleberry Knits sent us a prize for
so
SSK
sweet.
as well as a prize for later.
Oh, cool.
This is in her BFL nylon blend, and this is the Dragonfly color.
Oh, so pretty.
Yeah,
That's
really
right up
nice.
your alley with all those jewel tones.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I love BFL.
For
We
socks.
also got from Knitty and Color.
Look at that!
I know. I'm excited to see these at SSK. She's one of our SSK vendors.
Cool.
So this is a chartreuse to grape color block set, 600 total yards, and it's a merino nylon blend.
That would be
Superwash.
awesome for lefty.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be a ginormous lefty, though. Or if you're doing barn raising squares or vivid
There's lots,
squares,
yeah.
you can do so much stuff with that.
I like it. I think it's. I love the packaging. I think that's a great job. Simply Socks
Yeah.
sent us 3 skeins as well as some
Wow.
other items for the goodie bags. One is like so bright. This is called Gold Coast.
That's awesome.
These are all in their post yarn, which is their 75%
That
Cordell.
Cordell blend. Yum.
And then this one is the Mount Doom colorway, which I think is the one Jasmine was knitting.
Yeah. Well, that was their giveaway for Operation Software.
Yeah.
I listen to things.
I remember her mentioning it. I just kiss ass. And this one is the Thunderbird.
Nice.
All these are in the Cordell nylon blend. And they are all superwash. So these are 3 great prizes that you could win. And that's at simplysockyarn.com. And they don't just have their own yarn. They also have Socks That Rock, Turtle Pearl, Biscotti and Sea, tons of different sock yarn. Yeah. We got some great prizes from Frida, who is Friday Studios.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get them all. So she doesn't just do yarn, she also does bags. So I wanted to quickly show you the bags that she sent. So I really like this sort of 4th of July patchworky.
That's very cute.
Yeah, and it's got the little rosy interior. Another thing is that she included that SSKers will get are these cards, and each one has a colorway and a name on it, and that's genius. But she also has a discount code on the back for 25% off anything.
Nice.
So that's awesome. So that's the first bag. And this one I really like, and you'll like because it's foxes. It's purple foxes.
Very cute.
They're all flat bottom. I'm just not folding them out because then I'll never get them folded back. Because I know me. And then she got some Sneaky Ninjas.
Awesome! That reminds me of my ninja I knit.
Yeah. And it's just a little sock-sized bag. And this one is the big one. And it's sort of a solar-themed, space-themed one. And this was a little heavier duty. This one feels a little more like upholstery fabric. Like Amy Beth's bags are a little stiffer.
Yeah.
And it's got a nice plain interior.
So you can see stuff.
And her little logo, Friday Studios.
Cute.
Yep. And she also sent some little pouches.
I love her little circular pouches. They are so cool.
Yes, and that's what I'm looking for because she did send them.
Gesundheit to me. Sorry about that.
Here they are. And these I think are super clever because you can clip them on the outside of whatever bag you're using. They have the little snaps.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then you can stick in your scissors, your darning needle, your stitch markers, whatever, just few little notions that you need. So there's the car-themed one. There's the beach-themed one.
Aww.
New York.
Cute.
Seashells and paper clips.
Very
so these
cute.
will all be prizes that you can win. And Three Waters Farm also sent a prize for SSK. And this is in Cold Sunny Morning, which I have actually spun before and really like. So this is also in the BFL, 100% BFL.
Pretty.
Fiber. And their prep is really nice and easy to spin. So.
It is.
There will be more prizes next week. As we get them, we're trying to make sure that we show them and link them as well. So that, I think, is it for this week. Unless you have anything else.
Don't have anything else. I think that's it on my end, too.
You look a little like a zombie right now. You look kind of tired.
Well, I had a cat that wanted to be in my face.
Well, you left him alone.
I know. It's terrible.
What do you expect? So, okay. Well, that's it for this week. We've gone an hour and 15 minutes, so that's awesome.
That might be why I'm a zombie, too.
I know. I still have to go to the grocery store tonight. So
I have no food in this house. There is none to be had. That's what happens when you travel. I had carrots. So, that was good.
Well, you guys have a wonderful week. We will see you on the 8th of July, a little over a week from now. And you guys have a wonderful time in the meantime.
Bye, y'all.